Sobrang di ko pa mapaniwala. Maraming salamat sa suporta. Sana patuloy yung suporta niyo sa akin at
The secret is finally out. Miko Eala has just exposed something that was carefully hidden about Alexandra Eala, and the entire WTA world is shaken. 4 months, the Eala camp kept this information tightly guarded, shielding it from rival coaches, analysts, and prying eyes who were desperate to understand her rapid rise. They believed the secret would remain buried forever. But it only took one candid moment, one unguarded interview, and a small slip from the person who knows Alexandra better than anyone else on the planet to crack everything open. Miko Eala, Alex's older brother, a former collegiate tennis player, and her constant presence throughout this extraordinary journey unintentionally revealed the blueprint behind her success. What followed sent shockwaves through women's tennis. Coaches reportedly began reassessing strategies, top players called urgent team meetings, and the WTA establishment was left wondering how they failed to see it coming. Welcome back to Court Eva Tennis, the only place online delivering the hottest, most explosive updates straight from the tennis world. No filters, no sugarcoating, just raw drama paired with sharp analysis. If you are new here, buckle up and subscribe, because this is the kind of story that surfaces only once in a generation. And if you are a returning supporter, you already know we dive deeper than mainstream tennis media dares to go. So settle in as we break down the biggest storyline in women's tennis right now, the remarkable rise of 20-year-old Filipino sensation Alexandra Eala and the hidden blueprint that may be changing the sport. To truly grasp the magnitude of this revelation, we need to rewind. Just 12 months ago, Eala was a promising name that casual fans might have recognized from her junior success or a qualifying draw appearance. She was talented and exciting, but still seen as a developing prospect. What has happened since then, however, has been nothing short of astronomical, a transformation that now has the tennis world scrambling to catch up. She was promising, absolutely, but the general consensus across the tennis world was that she needed time, more seasoning, more matches on the lower tiers, a few extra years of grinding before she could truly challenge the elite. Analysts said it openly. Commentators repeated it. Even some of her most loyal supporters quietly wondered whether the leap to the highest level might come too soon. But Alexandra Eala heard every doubt. She stored each one away in her sharp, composed mind and responded in the only way that truly matters in professional sport, on the court. She didn't just prove the skeptics wrong, she dismantled their arguments entirely. She tore up their carefully constructed timelines and replaced them with something far more dramatic and undeniable. What she accomplished at the 2026 Miami Open was not merely impressive, it was seismic. It shifted the narrative around what a 20-year-old from the Philippines could achieve on one of the sport's biggest stages. She arrived in Miami as a steadily rising player, respected but not yet feared, still viewed as a developing talent rather than a genuine threat. Then she began to play, and everything changed. The breakthrough started with her stunning victory over Jelena Ostapenko, the explosive Latvian known for one of the most ferocious forehands in the women's game and a former Grand Slam champion at French Open. Ostapenko came out exactly as expected, swinging fearlessly, attempting to overwhelm Eala with raw power before she could settle into rhythm. But instead of being rattled, Eala absorbed the pace and intensity with remarkable composure. She matched power with precision, defense with intelligence, and chaos with calm control, turning what many expected to be a brutal lesson into a statement performance that announced she was no longer just a prospect. She was ready. She redirected pace with astonishing precision, turning raw power into perfectly measured counterpunches and sending her opponent off the court with a quiet expression that made one thing clear: she meant business. After that breakthrough win, she dismantled Paula Badosa, who had been enjoying one of the strongest stretches of her career. Then she took down Madison Keys, one of the most dangerous servers on tour, a player capable of ending rallies and matches in the blink of an eye. One by one, established stars fell, and then came the moment that truly shook the sport. 20-year-old Alexandra Eala stood across the net from Iga Swiatek, the world number 1 and widely considered the dominant force of her generation. This was supposed to be the reality check. Instead, it became a revelation. Eala played with remarkable composure, tactical intelligence, and ruthless efficiency. Her shot selection was disciplined, her court positioning impeccable, and her timing fearless. She made the top seed look unsettled, rushed, and unusually vulnerable. By the final point, the tennis world was in disbelief. Analysts replayed the footage repeatedly, searching for answers. Coaches pored over statistics. Commentators asked the same question: how? How does a 20-year-old produce that level on this stage? Where did this leap come from? Publicly, the answers were measured and professional. Eala credited her team, her family, and her training. She spoke about trusting the process, improving tactically, and believing in her work. All true but clearly only part of the story. That is where Miko Eala enters the picture. More than just a proud older brother, he has been deeply embedded in her development from the beginning through grueling practice sessions, exhausting travel schedules, moments of doubt, and breakthrough triumphs. He has seen the work from the inside. In a recent conversation that sent ripples through the tennis community, he hinted that what the public has witnessed so far is merely the surface. He spoke carefully, but his words carried weight. He referenced highly specialized training blocks conducted away from public courts, strategic planning sessions built around dissecting the specific weaknesses of top-ranked players, and practice regimens designed with almost surgical precision. According to him, the preparation has been so detailed and so deliberately structured that rival coaches would be stunned if they saw the full blueprint. And perhaps most ominously, he suggested that this is only the beginning, that the version of Alexandra Eala the world has seen so far is not the finished product. One area that has drawn particular attention is her return of serve, which may already be among the most dangerous weapons in the women's game. She reads serves early, anticipates direction with uncanny instinct, and steps inside the baseline to take time away from opponents. It is not reactive tennis. It is proactive, aggressive, and calculated disruption. Servers who once dictated rallies suddenly find themselves under pressure from the very first strike. The foundation of this evolution traces back to the elite environment of the Nadal Academy, where Eala refined her game under the influence of some of the sharpest minds in modern tennis. The Academy's philosophy, discipline, resilience, tactical awareness, and relentless repetition has clearly left its imprint on her. The fingerprints of championship thinking are evident in her composure during high-pressure moments and her ability to construct points with maturity beyond her years. And if Miko's hints are accurate, what we are witnessing now may only be phase 1 of a much larger plan, one that could reshape the hierarchy of women's tennis sooner than anyone expected. We have all seen the polished photos and uplifting feature stories about her time at the Academy, highlighting hard work, discipline, and dreams in motion. But the real transformation did not happen in front of cameras or during media days. It happened during the closed-door sessions, the private courts, the late afternoon training blocks, the intense drills kept far away from social media and public view. That is where the foundation of this new version of Alexandra Eala was truly built. When news surfaced last year that she had a private one-on-one session with Rafael Nadal, it was presented as a heartwarming mentorship moment, a legendary champion offering guidance to a rising talent. It sounded wholesome and symbolic. But anyone who understands Nadal's approach to the sport knows he does not step onto a court for empty gestures. He does not hit balls for show. When Nadal commits his time and attention to a player, he transfers something deeper: his philosophy, his competitive architecture, the mental and physical blueprint that made him the most decorated champion in the history of the French Open and one of the fiercest competitors the sport has ever witnessed. Eala confirmed that Nadal offered detailed technical advice on her forehand, adjusting trajectory, refining spin rate, and using angles to turn an opponent's power against them. But recent comments from Miko suggest the lessons extended far beyond mechanics. The Nadal influence appears to have shaped her psychological framework as well. The ability to compartmentalize under pressure, to slow the tempo of the moment when everything feels rushed, and to execute with clarity when the stakes are highest. That mental steel, so synonymous with Nadal's own career, now seems embedded in Eala's competitive identity. Beyond Nadal's mentorship, experienced academy coaches such as Danny Gomez and Joan Bosch have reportedly played significant roles in shaping her evolution. Their expertise in developing complete professional players technically sound, tactically sharp, and emotionally resilient has added layers of sophistication to her natural instincts. The result appears to be a hybrid style, explosive yet controlled, aggressive yet calculated, creative yet disciplined. Together, these influences have crafted something distinctly modern and strategically advanced. Eala's game no longer resembles that of a promising junior finding her footing. It reflects a system deliberately engineered for the highest level. Her shot construction is purposeful, her patterns are premeditated, and her in-match adjustments arrive with surprising maturity. The early proof of this transformation surfaced in commanding fashion at the 2026 edition of the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships, where her composure and tactical execution suggested that the evolution was not theoretical, it was already operational. The 2026 edition of the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships is one of the most prestigious tournaments outside the Grand Slams, and that year every major name on the women's tour was in attendance. The draw was stacked, the margins razor-thin, and Alexandra Eala arrived determined to make a statement. Her opening match against seasoned Romanian veteran Sorana Cirstea quickly became a showcase of tactical maturity. Cirstea is not an opponent who can be rushed. She strikes the ball with heavy power, thrives on dictating baseline exchanges, and overwhelms players with relentless depth. Conventional wisdom suggested that a 20-year-old facing such experience might approach the match cautiously, perhaps even tentatively. Eala, however, played with clarity and conviction. She absorbed Cirstea's pace, redirected it with sharp angles and controlled spin, and repeatedly disrupted the Romanians' rhythm. The 7-5, 6-4 scoreline only partially reflects how firmly Eala controlled large portions of the contest. When she sealed match point and let out a fierce roar beneath the Dubai stadium lights while Filipino flags waved in the stands, it felt less like relief and more like a declaration. Her run eventually ended in the quarterfinals against Gauff, and this is where the narrative becomes especially intriguing. Gauff, ranked world number 4 and already a Grand Slam champion, represents the modern prototype of elite tennis. Athletic, tactically versatile, and mentally resilient. On paper, she was precisely the kind of opponent expected to halt Eala's surge. The final score, 6-0, 6-2, suggests a straightforward victory for the American. Yet anyone who watched closely would argue that the surface numbers fail to tell the full story. From the very first point, Gauff played with striking urgency. She did not ease into the match or experiment with rhythm. She attacked relentlessly, serving with pace and stepping into returns with uncompromising aggression. It was a performance delivered with intensity bordering on necessity. And that raises an interesting question. Why does a top 4 player, already established at the pinnacle of the sport, feel compelled to unleash maximum force from the opening game against a rising 20-year-old? The answer may lie in respect, perhaps even caution. Because beneath the scoreboard, there were flashes of Eala's evolving game, moments of clean ball striking, intelligent point construction, and fearless shot-making that hinted she belonged on that stage. Even in defeat, there were glimpses of the blueprint that has the tennis world paying close attention. Why would a world number 4 come out swinging at full throttle against a 20-year-old in her first major quarterfinal? The answer seems to echo in the hints shared by Miko Eala. By that stage, the whispers had already circulated. Opponents and their teams had taken notice. Even the publicly visible version of the so-called Eala blueprint had triggered enough concern that an established superstar felt compelled to deny her any opportunity to settle into rhythm. In professional tennis, the gap between a routine win and a drawn-out battle is razor-thin. Yes, Gauff secured a convincing victory in Dubai, but the intensity with which she approached that match spoke volumes. It reflected not dismissal but respect, perhaps even caution toward Alexandra Eala and the threat she now represents. Even in defeat at the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships, Eala left with tangible rewards, nearly $100,000 in prize money, 215 valuable ranking points, and a new career-high ranking of world number 40. At just 20 years old, she became the highest-ranked Filipino tennis player in history, a milestone that signals not an endpoint, but a beginning. Yet perhaps the most compelling dimension of her rise is not technical or tactical. It is psychological. While analysts debate her spin rates and return positioning, what truly separates her may be the composure she displays under extraordinary pressure. Eala competes with emotional discipline that many players struggle to master. Even in their late 20s, she compartmentalizes expectation, blocks out noise, and steps onto courts against Grand Slam champions with the calm presence of someone entirely at ease in the moment. That composure should not be mistaken for softness. When required, she has shown a steely refusal to be diminished. One defining example came at the Italian Open, when a post-match press conference took an uncomfortable turn. Following a difficult loss, a journalist framed questions in a manner that felt dismissive and condescending, probing her mental resilience as though she were fragile rather than elite. Eala did not bristle or lash out. Instead, she responded with controlled clarity, stating firmly that she was there to discuss tennis and had no intention of being reduced to the outcome of a single match. The room fell silent. The message was unmistakable. She would not allow herself to be belittled. That is, for whom might be paying particularly close attention, the list is formidable. IGA Swiatek has already experienced firsthand the precision and poise Eala can bring to a marquee match. Aryna Sabalenka, with her overwhelming power, represents exactly the type of opponent whose pace Eala appears increasingly adept at neutralizing. Jessica Pegula, Elena Rybakina, and Jasmine Paolini each present distinct tactical puzzles. The implication of Miko's comments is that these matchups are not being approached casually. They are studied, mapped, and prepared for with the meticulous foresight of a chess grandmaster planning multiple variations before a critical tournament. Stepping back, the broader cultural context makes this rise even more remarkable. Eala is not simply enjoying a breakthrough season, she is reshaping sporting history for the Philippines. The country boasts passionate, devoted fans, yet has had limited representation at the highest levels of professional tennis. Every time she competes on a major stage, Filipino supporters around the world rally behind her. In Dubai, sections of the crowd felt transported from Manila flags waving, chants echoing, energy surging through the stadium. That atmosphere is both inspiring and formidable, creating a sense that something larger than a single match is unfolding. The atmosphere surrounding her can be overwhelming, the kind of national expectation that has weighed down players with far more experience. Yet Alexandra Eala does not merely endure it, she seems to draw strength from it. The energy of Filipino supporters becomes fuel, sharpening her focus and intensifying her competitive fire. There is a powerful reciprocity at play. She gives her fans moments of pride and inspiration, and in return they provide belief, noise, and unwavering support that lifts her in the tightest moments. When you step back and truly take in the bigger picture, the scale of her rise becomes extraordinary. Here is a 20-year-old from the Philippines who has evolved into one of the most compelling stories in global sport. At the start of 2025, she was outside the top 50. By the end of that season, she had surged into elite conversations, earned a career-high ranking, and positioned herself as a legitimate contender on the biggest stages. Now in 2026, with momentum and confidence on her side, she enters crucial tournaments not as an underdog hoping to survive, but as a competitor expecting to belong. In Dubai, she faces familiar tests. A rematch with Hailey Baptiste presents both tactical intrigue and emotional stakes. The stands promise to be filled with Filipino fans whose passion can transform the desert venue into something resembling a home court. That combination, a driven athlete with something to prove and a crowd ready to erupt, does not signal collapse. It signals possibility. Credit must also be given to rising talents like Teresa Valentova, whose fearless style and competitive intensity mark her as a future force. She carries the pedigree of an elite sporting background and plays with unmistakable hunger. Few would be surprised to see her break into the top 10 in the coming years. The women's game is entering a fascinating era, filled with young athletes pushing each other to higher levels, but the Eala story feels uniquely charged. It blends performance, preparation, national pride, and psychological strength into something that transcends a single tournament run. What unfolds in Dubai may become one of the defining stretches of her season and perhaps a defining chapter in her career. With each match, the belief grows stronger that the best pages of her journey have yet to be written. Now the big questions remain. Can she solve the Valentova challenge with the right tactical adjustments, whether technical refinements, mental recalibration, or a mix of both? And how deep can she go in Dubai? A quarterfinal? A semi-final? A breakthrough title that would mark her first major WTA triumph? Whatever the outcome, one thing is increasingly clear. Alexandra Eala is no longer simply part of the conversation. She is shaping it.